Yeah.
I had a funny conversation about some of these Gen Zers, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
think Gen Z has been a lot of the a push behind everything that's going on. Why do you think that is? Or do you feel like there are more young people out there as well? What was your take on it?
As far as what the generations differing when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to it, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm seeing a lot of young folks out, a
Yeah,
lot
man.
of millennials and Gen Zers, like you said. And, you know, it's our time. This is
Mm-hmm.
our time. I feel like if you're, you know, in your 40s or older, you've seen these things happen. You probably participated in some type of civil rights or protest at some point. And it's almost like they did their part, right? You know, I look at my parents. My parents were teachers for a very long time in an underserved school district.
Yeah.
And, you know, they did their part. They did enough back then. It's more or less our point to come out and, you know, speak our word and create this change for ourselves. Because, you know, the future is ours. This
Mm-hmm.
is going to be the world that we live in. And if we don't do anything about it, then nobody will, I feel. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I've been seeing a lot of young folks out there, which has been very reassuring. Younger than me, I'm 32. And if I'm seeing young people out there doing the work, you know, that's all power to them. I'm with them. You know, I'm documenting them. I'm pushing them along as best I can.
Exactly. Exactly. We're about to stop traffic on I-10. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna buy all this smoke. Like,
Yeah.
is this what I'm doing right now? And so I think, like, looking at my girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, all right, we're doing this as a group. All right,
Yeah.
slowly but surely. But it's all like young, definitely folks in their like low 20s. I felt like that was really about hitting it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it. It was cool. And so someone just mentioned too, a lot of these young protesters have to make sure that they're able to vote, right? Because
Facts.
voting is really
Facts.
the things that will enlist the change. But we got up on I-10, and so we blocked one lane, and then two more people ran out into the middle of the highway, and I was like, I don't know if I'm trying to get hit like that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's your point.
Yeah.
I like it. But I think that energy is what really is needed to invigorate it, right? Because I feel like a lot of, just like you said, the older generation has been through this, and sometimes they think no change really came of it, right? No change will come of it in the future. But I think we're having the younger generations really getting into it. They also see this as a wrong, and we need to do something, and we can do something about it, especially
Absolutely.
with all this change that is going on, right? We're a new Flint. I'm forgetting the town. I know some of you guys are listening, but there's a new mayor that was voted on, and so because of it, everyone went to go vote.
Flint. I believe that was
Flint,
Flint.
Flint,
Yeah.
Flint, Flint, Flint. And so, yeah, I think this change really, really does matter, and what we do can affect the future.
Absolutely. You got to continue to apply pressure. Like these things don't happen overnight. From the civil rights movement to now, even before that, like I feel like we have to keep that mindset. You know, it's sort of like a trending, popular thing, sort of right now for some people to go out and protest. But you know, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, like we have to continue to push. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way that we're going to create like the necessary change that we need to see. I feel. You know?
Got you. Someone just corrected. It was Ferguson. Yeah, it was
It was
Ferguson
Ferguson,
just
so I was
elected
wrong. It was
a
Ferguson. All
black. Yeah,
right.
yeah, you know me. Appreciate
No
you,
doubt,
Captain.
bro.
I see that. I see that. So, do you think? Thing I always struggle with. Do you think it's going to be a fad? Right? Like I feel like Bubba is now about to be the new name that's popular. Do you think people are going to forget about this in a few months?
Months, but you know, it depends. If people start going back to work and they can't go out for a 3 p.m. protest because they got to go to work, I don't know. It might let up a little bit in some ways, but you know, hopefully the people that need to continue to push keep pushing and that happens. But I can't call it. I can't call it. This is different. It feels different,
Yeah, I think it feels different too.
but I feel like I can't call it at this point. I hope people continue to apply pressure though, as much as they can, in the ways that they can too. Even if it's going back to work and, you know, like you said, just being in those spaces, whether that be employee resource groups for minorities and just pushing agendas to make their voices more heard, or, you know, going out to protest on the weekend. Whatever it is, we can't stop. But if we do, then yeah.
Yeah, be safe, and I'll
You
see you
too.
next time around. All right.
All right, bro.
Take care. All right, everybody. As we're setting up for this show, so the huge topic of this show overall is activism, protest, and unrest. Right. We're getting a little bit more on how people go out to protest, what's the utility of it, and how we enlist change. So I want to introduce our guest, Andre Richardson, right now, who will be able to talk a little bit more about that in his specialty. All right. As we connect him. Hey, how you doing?
What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you, and welcome to the Stoop, my dude. How you
Yeah,
feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I would like to first, do you mind introducing yourself to everyone who's sitting here at the Stoop?
Sure, sure. So my name's Andre Richardson. I'm what I like to call a reformed political consultant.